Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee Chat. I'm sitting with Mimi Sheffer today. We're going to talk all about our ideas of service in our businesses and how we can be of service to our communities. Good morning, Mimi. Sorry, let me
Good
just
morning. Great to see you, Denise.
Good to see you too. You shared with me your bio of all the things you've done in your life. And I know you're a mom, you've been juggling work-life balance forever. But I'm fascinated. You've been in marketing for 25 years in communications, public relations. That is amazing. What have you seen? The transition must be amazing over that time span and the things you've been involved in.
It has definitely been interesting, the immediacy of information with the advent of social media, especially. It is amazing how quickly you can get information in the hands of people. So from a PR perspective, from a communications perspective, you really have to be on your game because you don't have time to come up with a plan or formulate a plan. You need to know what your plan is going into the release of that information. So if you're in business and you have a new promotion or a campaign you're running, you need to be able to push that out very quickly. So I feel like it has made us hustle a little bit more because there's no downtime. Like in the olden days, between press releases, you had a chance to kind of plan out your steps. Now that information hits the airwaves and you have to know constantly what it is you're doing. So it's made you work smarter, I think, which is fun. You're constantly challenged. And so I love that. I love being in that flow of information and working hard, and it's dynamic. It's a dynamic environment, and I love that.
Well, I find, my background's in IT and computer science. So my corporate jobs were at client locations, dealing training, doing all those things. And on the periphery, marketing was on the periphery around what I was doing because the company I worked for was doing a lot of marketing and things like that. So you'd see it happen. And I think when the platforms first started to show up, LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff started to come up, it was really not thought of as a marketing venue initially, right? It was all about connection and at a personal level. So to me, it's amazing now that I'm an entrepreneur to see how those platforms have turned into these marketing machines that people are using. And it was all the promise of the internet, what it was supposed to be back in the 90s. Someday we're going to have everything. Well, every business will be on the internet. I mean, I actually remember days when they weren't there,
Yes.
And when websites
sure.
had no pictures on them, it was just text, so they weren't even websites. They were like file folders, with documents in them. So
it's changed a lot, right?
Yes, it's crazy.
From the days of AOL and chat rooms. I mean, that was my very first. We were one of the first families in our neighborhood to get a computer. And I felt really lucky that I went into college. I graduated in 91, that I went into college with a personal computer. So I was literally like Ferris Bueller. I asked for a car, I got a computer. But I know a lot of people who really struggled learning how to use the computer and, the internet and the different programs and apps and things. And I feel very lucky that I had an early introduction into it. And so I feel a little bit less afraid to learn the new things than some of my counterparts.
And honestly, I've spent my entire history in consulting, helping people become comfortable with technology at all different levels, whether it's personal computer or mainframes or, just systems in general. So I'm comfortable seeing people uncomfortable and having that conversation, and there are a lot of people that are so deathly afraid. They don't even want to ask questions. Yes. Because they feel so detached. And honestly, the first thing they'll say when you really get to know them is, I just feel stupid. I do not like feeling stupid. So I just push it away because I don't even want to go there because I feel so inadequate. And it's such a shame because it's really not their fault. It's the fault of people that have put things out there without trying to bring the rest of the world along with them, and trying to make it
For sure.
adaptable for people, so. But anyway,
I remember,
go ahead.
I remember being in a college computer class. It was mandatory, and I think I took it my senior year. And there was an entrepreneur. He was 85 years old, and he had an international business, manufacturing business, product based. And he was taking this computer class. He was auditing it just to learn how to use his email, and he was so frustrated, and it just broke my heart, because you're absolutely right. There are people who have no idea. So.
And they're really, these are people that have doctorates and
Yes.
they're degreed, they're super intelligent. So I really have always had an aversion to labeling people as, too old or whatever. It's like, no, they just haven't done it. If someone actually sat down with them and answered their questions one-on-one and showed them how to do something, we all learn by experience. If you don't have the experience, then how can you be an expert, right? So it's like, all you need to do, I learn by doing. So when something new comes out, I do read the stuff, but I try it first, and that's how I learn. And these poor people haven't had that chance, so it's kind of weird. So
it is. It's a dynamic environment, always changing, right?
Yeah. So we're talking about service today. My new theme. So I do a monthly theme on my coffee chats, and last month was all about joy. So we had a whole bunch of people, what they do to find joy in their work, which was a lot of fun. This month, I wanted to talk about how we all perceive service. I think that there's a misconception out there that entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs just because they want to make tons of money. And yes, we all want to be paid for our services and support our families and our lives and live well. But I think there's a deeper meaning that a lot of people have when they approach being an entrepreneur. And I thought it would be fun to talk about where we come from. And I know personally for me, we're talking a little bit about what drives me is that feeling that technology isn't just for people who are super good at it. Technology is supposed to be for everybody. And I feel like it can be applied for everyone as long as they take the time to listen and they have someone who tries to speak their language and they experience it. And I think that they can adopt it and use it. And so to me, it's my service is trying to distill that knowledge to the masses of people out there that could benefit from it. So
that's a really great mission. There are still a lot of things that not everybody knows. My daughter is 8, almost 9, and she showed me how to create folders on my phone. So no matter how versed you are, there are always new things that you can learn, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's great that you're helping people do that, Denise, honestly.
That's kind of what keeps me going. And when I get frustrated or I feel like I'm overextended, I can recenter myself by trying to think about the big why and why I'm actually doing what I'm doing. So I just thought I'd get your take on it. So how do you feel about being an entrepreneur? Where do you fit?
I love working for myself, because the goal, of course, is to free up your time so that you can do other things. And I'm very passionate about service. I was very active in the junior league in my area for many years, and I was president back, in 2009, 2010. So I would love to free up enough of my time by furthering my mission so that I can do more of those women and children services. I was on the board in our small town, the Civic Association board, and advocating for parks and community spaces in our town. Because wow. As you and I talked earlier, I'm in Florida, and so the development is huge. And so one of the things we as a community are doing is trying to work with the developers and with our county to create these community spaces before we're just paved over with neighborhoods, right? We want to keep that connection. So in my mind, it's twofold, really. Being an entrepreneur is twofold: helping the people who need what it is I have. And I work with small business owners, solopreneurs, to help them learn how to leverage the power of their personal social media, not necessarily their business pages, but their personal profiles, to work with those tricky algorithms so that when they post something, they post it to their maximum effectiveness, and they get more eyes on their social media. So that's my goal. And there are lots of people out there who need that, because as we've talked about, social media is a very crowded space.
It is.
So I serve in that capacity. I feel like there are a lot of people out there who need that information, but also in serving, I want to be able to free up more of my time, so I don't have a computer as an appendage or a phone as an appendage, so I can spend more time with my family and serve my community in an even bigger way.
That's wonderful. Yeah, open space is not an easy topic. I live in New Jersey, the most densely populated state next to California, I think, right? Or one of the most. I think the challenge is exactly where you are, right? As the building is just going nuts, you have an
Yes.
opportunity to protect some of it. We're in a place where when things become available and get run down, we're reclaiming stuff because there's no longer open spaces.
Open spaces.
I
Yeah.
mean, there's some farmland further south. I'm a little further south now, and there's some farmland that's transitioning, and so that's there. But most of the central and north of the state is full. There is nowhere to reclaim anything. I mean, they have some preserves and reserves, but it's really, really hard. So I understand that challenge. That's a wonderful thing to do, is to work
Thank
to
you.
open space. I think it's so valuable.
We're
So,
working to get a community park right now, and it's a big open space, multi-use
okay.
for families, and it's adjacent to our new high school. But the wheels of management and government and development work very slowly. So it's a marathon, not a sprint. But I feel absolutely certain it's going to come to fruition. And, I grew up in a really sweet small town in Tennessee, and I want to give my kids a taste of that small town connection. And so that's part of the reason I'm working so hard, and I have been working so hard for the past several years to bring those community spaces to our area.
It's
I
amazing.
think it's important. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to try to allow, when I left my corporate job, the 60 hours a week, traveling 4 days a week, I really had no mental space or physical capacity to be an active member of my community. And one of the things that is so valuable when you become an entrepreneur is there's, that risk of when you're building, you get all consumed, but you can carve out time because you're in control of your time. So you do get to carve out more for yourself. So it's an interesting palette to be able to choose where you put your time and energy. It's a risk, but it's really valuable. And I think people underestimate how wonderful that freedom can be.
Absolutely. And, I think it's one of those things, being an entrepreneur. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Well, the hardest step is that very first step. But entrepreneurialism has so many amazing benefits and rewards if you just be willing to take that first step. Everything kind of comes together. But I definitely advocate getting a coach and getting a group, a community around you to help cheer you on and support you as you go through that process. Because it can be a little bit isolating, right? You used to travel 4 days a week, and I heard you talk not long ago. Was it with Rod? I think so, where you said you really only had Sunday because you were working and traveling Monday through Friday, Monday through Thursday, and then you were working online Saturday, Friday and Saturday. And so Sunday was really your one day a week is not enough, right?
I
So
lived in my house. Yeah.
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 So the world of entrepreneurialism, you work really hard, but you're not necessarily with people. So I do believe that the most important component as an entrepreneur is making sure you have a community to help you through those challenges and those obstacles and those learning curves. It doesn't all have to be be bad or challenging, but getting a community and working really hard and getting a coach who helps you navigate that journey is really important.
Yeah, and we've benefited so much from Kim Walsh Phillips
Yes.
Power Up community. It helps you forward the things that are so personal challenges, that your discomforts with video, or it's manifold. It exposes you to ideas that you don't necessarily think about yourself, so that you have all these aha moments and ideas, and you kind of go, oh, I can do that, I can do this, and I
Yes.
didn't even think to do that. So it's a great sounding board. And then it also just helps you through community of like-minded people, make those decisions to go forward with new things and try new things, and not feel like that abject fear of doing
Yes.
something new by yourself, which is really
Yes,
great.
for
It's been
sure.
wonderful. I can't
It
believe
has.
it's been a year that we've
I
been in this.
know,
Almost,
I
it'll be
know,
July, it'll be a year.
which is just crazy. But, we found each other, and we have a great accountability group and a great support group. And I've just absolutely loved it. And, she has a bold message, and it's each one of us is gifted with talents and resources and skills that other people really need, and it is our responsibility to share those with the people who need them, because there are people out there hoping and praying and wishing for what it is we have to offer. And so that definitely, for me, entrepreneurialism was a big scary, kind of black hole. What if and what
Right.
do I do if I step into that black hole? Where will I go? But she kind of changes the tempo on that, and she says it's your responsibility. So it's not for you, it's for the people you're going to serve. And I love that, because that takes the onus off your fear, and that people are waiting to hear from you, and you've got a message that can change their lives, and so you have to share that.
I also love the message too, that it is your right, or it is okay to have an expectation to be
Yes.
rewarded for your expertise
Yes.
and your work. And
Mhm.
so you don't have to think about service as all or nothing. You don't
Mhm.
have to be a charitable operation to serve. You can serve through your intellect and your skills and your gifts, and
Mhm.
still be rewarded for it and compensated for it. And it just elevates the conversation beyond the typical view of what an entrepreneur is, and turns it
It
into, yeah,
definitely
there's
does.
a reason you do what you do. And instead of doing it for a corporation or for someone else's vision, you do it for your own vision. And you share what you have and your skills with the world, and you support yourself in the meantime. And to me, that's like, oh, that's just so normal, and it
It's
doesn't make
okay
a
to make
difference.
money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
okay.
okay to make money. Well, and in fact, she said something that I really cling to. People pay more attention when they pay.
True. This is
You
true.
know, if you give a resource for free, um, it isn't always necessarily utilized and incorporated into a business. So people pay more attention when they are paying for your services, and so that kind of, it's an exchange. You're giving them information in exchange for, monetary compensation. So
Right.
you don't have to feel guilty about that. And I don't know why so many entrepreneurs do feel guilty about that, but it's a real challenge.
Well, I think when you're starting, like, I have strong beliefs in my skills and what I've been able to do with my life and what I've done, but I've never one-on-one sold them.
Mhm.
Right.
Somebody else did.
Right. So, and I developed relationships with people, and I helped those corporations have successful projects and deliver on their promises. But I didn't negotiate that thing. So I didn't put myself out on the line as what they were buying.
Mhm.
And that is more difficult than I think anybody can imagine, because if you're
Yes.
used to just delivering, and producing for someone else's cause, you're not really making the promises, right? So you're not accustomed to making promises and dealing with the fear of how to deliver them.
Yes, for sure.
Right? I mean, I can't say that I didn't have fear delivering on my client contracts when I was in a corporate job. I had lots of fear, lots of stress, lots of crazy, but ultimately I was not the one person that was responsible, right?
Yes.
So I had a hierarchy of protection in between me
Yes.
and the top. Not always did they protect me, but
Mhm.
I did. So
Mhm.
that is a really tough thing to learn and
Yes.
to fortify yourself to do and put yourself out there. So I think there's a lot of people that have amazing skills, but they just haven't practiced how to do that and put together that that's what they're doing, is
Mhm.
getting accustomed to making promises that have financial implications and
Mhm.
delivering on it and treating it as such. So I think that's where people struggle a lot, and it's hard. So
In that sales conversation, so many people are like, I'm not a salesperson. I'm not a salesperson. You are. Everyone is, no matter what it is you're doing, because you are selling someone on, if you're fixing a car, you're selling them on the fix that you've just done for the car, and you're selling them on the warranty and the guarantee and all of that. So all of us are in sales, but it's the way we think about entering into those sales negotiations, into that selling discussion. And so it's hard to make that shift.
and you think our good friend Judy will be the first to say that you're not really having a sales conversation, you're just having a conversation,
Mhm.
and that you're not just selling. So you're not
Mhm.
approaching something as, hey, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. Is
Yes.
like you're getting to know somebody and you're trying to figure out, you're discovering what they need and seeing if you have something that can help them more
Mhm.
than you are trying to sell your service. And I think that's the disconnect that a lot of people don't see. And
Mhm.
I think as women too, we also approach sales differently than men do.
I
And
agree.
I think that we have a lot more ability to talk about problems and issues and discover, and it's more natural for us to do discovery before we get into a mode of sales. So did I lose you? You frozen?
Frozen.
Oh, you're back.
Okay, I lost you there for a minute.
Oh, I was just my internet connection is getting weird on me.
Oh gosh.
Sorry. Okay, it looks like
Heck,
it's okay now. I was
we're
just
back.
chatting about how women approach sales differently than men, and I think it's more natural for us to have conversations. And so when somebody says we have to sell, we kind of go, that's not what we
Freeze up,
do.
right?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
We freeze because we think we have to have a script and we have to do this, and that's not really natural. I think we have to accept that we could be natural and just talk to people and go through a process. Like,
You're absolutely right. And someone said this the other day, and I never thought about it in these terms, but it really like freed me up. If you were at lunch with a girlfriend or a guy friend, if you were at lunch with someone and they had a terrible headache, and you had a bottle of aspirin or a to-go pack of aspirin in your purse or on your person, you would give it to them, right? You
right,
wouldn't
right.
withhold that. So the same is true of sales or of service or service-based selling. If you have a solution that will help someone, it's your responsibility. I mean, any normal person would do that. They would share what it is that they have that can help someone. And so if you just really think about it the way Judy said, it's just a conversation, and here's what I have, it might help you, and here's how it works. It takes the pressure off, and it shouldn't be a pressure filled conversation at all.
No, and I think the other thing too is the comfort. Um, we invite people and I don't want this to be just totally gender based, but I know it to be true. We invite the connection where someone feels comfortable enough to tell us they have a headache.
Hmm. Yes,
That
true.
we open that door of connection with other people, as women, as mothers, as our
Nurturers.
nurturers our whole lives. So that opening allows us to provide or help, do what we do best, give them a Tylenol.
Yeah, right. It can
Right?
be as simple as that. I
It
think we
can be.
overthink it because women in general, and a lot of men too, overthink.
Right.
And you just have to step into the conversation and say, how can I help you? How can I serve you?
Right.
What do I have that can make your life easier or better?
Right.
And that's all it is.
Yeah.
If you serve before you sell, then the whole process is easier.
Oh, I love that. Serve before you sell. Hey,
Yeah.
tell me, so we're coming up on time here, but I did want to hear, what do you have on your horizon in the next couple months?
Well, I am starting a new interview series, much like this. I'll be using it streaming to Facebook Live. It will eventually become a podcast, and pieces and parcels in my book, my solo book, my second book coming out later this year.
Awesome.
And that starts tomorrow. I'm interviewing one of our friends, Cam. And in fact, I have the whole month of May scheduled out. So I'm very excited. We'll be doing interviews on Tuesdays and Fridays. And
Great.
then my first webinar about hacking that algorithm is coming out in the next 10 days. So I'm very excited. Lots and lots of good things on the horizon.
Oh, great. Let me know when it's going to be. I want to be
Thank
there.
you. Thank you. I will.
It's been so great talking to you. The time has
Mhm.
flown by. I can't believe it's 12 o'clock already.
It has. It has. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It was a
Thank you.
pleasure. I enjoyed sipping my coffee with you.
Same here. Have a great day, and I hope we get to do this again real soon.
Me too. Take
Thanks
care.
again, Mimi.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.